On September 10, 2005, a mod called After Russia was released for Hearts of Iron 2. The mod, set in a world where the White Army won the Russian Civil War, which evolved into an ambition mode where the Central Part won World War I. After many years, Kaiserreich has become one of the most popular alternative history mods in Hearts of Iron for an alternative history community in general. During its long existence, Kaiserreich has had many changes over the years, both inside and outside the game, and I think there's no better way to see all the changes and celebrate belatedly the 20th anniversary of the mod in a form on an iceberg made by the Reddit user ET37, which will be the same from the most known fact to the most unknown, mysterious, and to the don't probably serve facts. So, ladies and gentlemen, he is the iceberg of Kaiserreich. Kaiser Casanima. Kaiser Casanima is a YouTube channel made of a collection of artists centered in making videos about the lore of Kaiserreich. Its most popular videos about Kaiserreich are the zero video called The Debate Stage, which tells the story behind the different context of the Second American Civil War, and War of Kaiserreich, which brings the lore of many nations in the mod. Kaiserreich Discord, the official Discord of the mod and where most of the mod team dwells. That is where the set of cultural data are posted first. Other main discs where the community can share their opinion about the mod are r/Kaiserreich, which is the official subreddit of the mod. There where you can either post questions, banners, memes, discussion, and more data related to the mod if you don't break the rules of the subreddit. And the Tour of Kaiserreich, which was created in 2011 and there is no important here apart of the meaning of each early post is in a younger days of the mod and the community. Kaiserreich. Kaiserreich is an expansion mod which includes more paths to the game such as meme paths and content from the original mod to be considered as unrealistic and basically offer a more wacky version of Kaiserreich. We may say that it's superior to the original mod. Kaiserreich Wiki. There are at least two wikis of Kaiserreich, the official of Pirates and the fan-made version of Fandom. However, both wikis feature culture of habit, lore, and information about nations, events, certain and works in the Kaiserreich universe and encyclopedia display. As a fun fact, Kaiserreich has an official entry Wikipedia, which is more about gameplay, safety, promotion research. Alternate History Hub Video. For those who don't know, Alternate History Hub is a YouTuber with more than 2 million subscribers and is the most popular YouTuber regarding alternative history. On June 12, 2020, he released a video called The War of Kaiserreich, exploring the lore of an alternate World War I, which brings the lore of Kaiserreich and its nation. The video is one of the most viewed on his channel and there are a little more comments to the mod. But the video game mod, as of for beloved, it was quite controversial and caused quite a bit of drama in the community, which caused the alternative history house to talk about Kaiserreich. TV page. TV is a website which collects and documents the creation and example of text in different pieces of media. In the case of Kaiserreich, its page has been around since the 2000 and the other entry in TV describe as the third within the mod. The TV entry of Kaiserreich has evolved as the mod has. You use it week by machine, you can see how the entry of Kaiserreich has changed through the years. AARs. An after-action report, or AAR, is a group of images of breakthrough of players after they finishes their games. There are hundreds and even thousands of AARs that can be found either in the Paradox forum or in the subreddit. Wikiboxes. Wikiboxes are fan-made articles about the Kaiserreich universe done in a presentation style of Wikipedia and have been around in the subreddit since 2018. Cartecre. Cartecre is a Cold War Almond of Kaiserreich released recently as the first Kaiserreich continuation mode to be released. Category is set in 1948 at the end of the Second World War, when the beginning of a Cold War between the Reich and the Entente, which is now renamed as the Cold War on each other in proxy wars, when a divide the America and China being the response for their global dominance. However, the mode has faced many criticisms, some saying that nothing ever happens in Caltech. Many of these criticisms are based on the lack of conflict, the unavoidable collapse of Middle Africa, racial liberalism, and the fact that the Cold War when the mode is very unbalanced towards Germany, leaving high chances to win a war with the court. The YouTuber called Lorda has made a video showing the possibility to fix the problem of Caltech, like making the mode from ideological struggle go into a 19th century politics with nukes and other suggestions like making the collapse of Middle Africa violent and making the German Empire a villain. Personally, I hope that the developer category can fix the problem in the my future updates. Hungary's focus tree. A popular meme in the community highlighting Hungary's legal content, with many of the memes joking that we are more likely to get GTA 6 first than Hungary here to get content. Pro-national populism. National populism is ideology which rejects liberals and socialists in favor of a traditionalistic, militaristic, and one-party authoritarian state. Originally, the ideology was represented as brown, but in recent updates have been changed by green. This is because the brown color for fascists in Bosnia was due to the brown share of the Third Reich, but due to the fascism as we know that never existed in Kaiserreich was changed by green to represent the national populism, which is more associated with saving gun and the green Russian army uniforms. Herbert Hoover. Before the U.S. facelift, the longtime starting president of the United States was Herbert Hoover as a Republican. He sustained the mode as a Democrat for the 1940 election. Kerensky assassination. Until recent updates, Kerensky was assassinated ever again. Since the update 0.17 in late 2023, Kerensky is no longer assassinated, and instead he is in exile in New York, and Viktor Chernow takes his place as the one to be assassinated never again. Overbearing. Second American Civil War name changes. In the recent American faceless, many names of a very faction in the Second American Civil War have changed. The syndicalists went from the Combined Syndicates of America to the Worker Congress of America. The Longists went from the American United States to the American People's Government, and the Pacific State of America has changed into the American Constitutional Coalition Government. Red Flood. Red Flood is another popular mode of Heroes of Iron 4 and is known for its wackiness. Set in an alternate 1936, Red Flood is set in a world where no one won the Red War. France lost to Germany and turns into an isolationist state under Anthony Artaud. But Germany lost to Russia, causing a communist revolution in Germany, leaving the remaining conservatives fleeing to Prussia. Austria-Hungary collapsed, leaving only its outer portion and the Hungarian Revolution being successful. The White Army won the Russian Civil War, but became a decentralized dictatorship, divided with governed the Arab de facto warlord, with the exiled Republic fleeing in to Russia, which is composed by much of Manchuria because in his timeline, Russia won the Russo-Japanese War. Now you're wondering why I am talking about Red Flood in a Iceberg of Kaiserreich? Well, it's because for everything that I told you about Red Flood is just an alternative history novel within the universe of Kaiserreich. Andesia. Andesia is a form of the country for Totals and Argentina if the Patagonian workers from won the Patagonian rebellion to Argentina. Andesia is a superstate that composed the Hispanic South America and is rather reminiscent of the old Kaiserreich. Dual Struggle. Dual Struggle is a planned Cold War mode of Kaiserreich set in the 60s in a three-way Cold War between an autocrat Slacker Germany, a syndicalist America, and a democratic shogunate of Japan. See the development of the mode. It looks like it is an ambitious map where it is high chances of being released in the near future. Anime Wars. Every year, the subreddit gets flooded via influx of anime posts, meaning the subreddit divide between those who support the anime post and those who hate it. Transamur. Transamur was a Japanese puppet state that encompassed the territory to the east of the Amur River, and its leader was the Admiral Kolchak. Transamur has existed in since its most inception, but until recently it has been part of Russia at the start of the game when a potential so far is the army reportedly up in the area. Alter Russians. As I mentioned earlier in his video, Kaiserreich started as a models of Iron during the name of Alter Russians. Everything important that defined Kaiserreich like the assassination of Kerensky, Transamur, and Stamper began counter since its release in September 10, 2005. It's been 20 years. India update since its release, the Prairie 109 in the update has just a long shadow ever since it was first unveiled 5 years ago. The missile reception fundamentally altered how the bird report are presented to the public. Now, by weeks from the release, as opposed to, well, just like at his image, Krasnod. Krasnod was a planned Cold War mode that pitted a victory international in the west against a reactionary Russia in the east. Well, at the beginning, it started looking promising. At the end, was cancelled due to by debates about how to the peacenically but turned very political, causing the slowing and less disease of the development of the map. Next of Pacific states. Until the United States facelift, Richard Nixon is said to be a potential presidential candidate for the 1952 election of the Pacific States of America if they won the Civil War. Fear Rage. Fear Rage. Legacy of Kaiserreich is another popular mod which, like Frostplot, is based on an alternative history novel by Kaiserreich. In a novel about what if the tale was where Germany lost the World Trade. Some of the difference between Fiorot and Otala are that in 1932 Germany became the third of the Baltics. In Eastern Europe are independent from the Soviet Union. At the start of the game, the theater of Separate was accomplished and many of the changes that differ from alternate. Sebastian Faure. Sebastian Faure was an anarchist and for a long time the leader of the Commune of France. Although he was started to be removed in the Third International War due to concerning information about what he did in real life, like inappropriate behavior towards minors, the book he will not something less disgusting, expedited his departure. Monarchy is quite routine. Belarus, before being a republic in current versions, is said to be a monarchy under the Hohenzollern. In the modern setup, there is a tricky event referred to the Prairie setup. Frankie D. Roosevelt. In case the reason why Frankie D. Roosevelt is absent in the mod is due that in 1921 he died by polio and the only relative of him in the mod is Quentin Roosevelt, son of Teddy Roosevelt. Non-Tumbria. In the version 1.1 and is alone, Non-Tumbria was added to the mod as a releasable nation of the intro, which was added to combat shenanigans in the Peace Conference and to completely dismantle Britain with you as Germany, but is considered by many players as a bizarre tip. During Middle Africa. Before the Prairie Report 141, the star character of Middle Africa was German Goring, and even the earlier version of the mod had Joachim Ribbentrop as his foreign minister. After the same said Prairie Report, Carreta take experience the government of Middle Africa because the developers wanted a better reference of the historical German colonial administration practice and to avoid the problematic portrayal of Goring as a caricature of the Nazi ideology. Apocalypse. You have played Kaiserreich for a long time. You probably have noticed that post including has become increasingly in the mod. This phenomenon has given the name of Apocalypse, and the ruthless culling of his kind of portrait continue to horrify the community. Hashtag Justice for the Hat Portraits. Don Cuban Union. The Cuban Union is a nation of Costa south of Sark, as led by Pietro Krasnov, which in real life was a Nazi collaborator. It has since been replaced by the Revolta of the Prairie army under Basil Boldi-Rev. Franco Spain. There is a very obscure route for Spain which, in a specific chain of events that requires assassinating Infante Juan during the Civil War, which is done by a decision with RNG, and then request James as the King of Spain, and as a result, Spain will have core on the entirety of France. Avoid the Second American Civil War. There was two separate routes for the Federals to avoid the Second American Civil War, either under Fred Olson or Charles Curtis, who could negotiate with Jack Reed and then assassinate Huey Long. At the Second American Civil War was deemed as a necessity for most of continental America to function. This icon was removed. Pele American Union State. Before Huey Long was shifted to the National Populist Club for the longest, William Pele, leader of the Civil Legion, occupied the role of a National Populist American Union State. Its past was considered as ruined as it was reserved for supporting a Christian identity that envisioned a union of German Assyrians, Afro-American, Socialists, Jewish, and Catholic people.
Excuse me, what?
Old China. Prior to the 0.10 version, China was said to be very different. While Qin and Fengtian weren't that different from today, the Shandong occultists were in Shanxi. Furthermore, both Yunnan and Manchuria were larger than they are now, and the biggest chain was in the south, where it was ruled by American corporation known as the AOG. I did not even try to pronounce its real name. And if we go back any further, Japan even had part of mainland China outright. Tsar Pavel. In his point of the Iceberg referred that Dmitry Romanov was once able to proclaim the Russian throne for himself. When he died, his young son Pavel would become the next Tsar of Russia. Tawanti Suyo. It is possible to form the Incan Empire as Peru in the legend if you do a specific chain of events. First, Peru must go to the National Populist route, and once the leader dies in 1947, one of the four successors, especially the white supremacy, must be chosen. This triggers a Czech revolt led by a descendant of an Incan emperor. AlternativeHistory.com tracked in 2017 a user with the name of Reverdelta that posted the author of Kaiserreich in AlternativeHistory.com. Nowadays, the thread has more than 10,000 comments in its 8 years of existence, which is incredibly formidable to say the least. Panama Canal and Singapore. Several years ago, an user with the name of Remington Chowdhury in Ingur cataloged the possible course, claims, and state BP name changes available of a very bad and tag in the game. As it turned out, every single tag had the option to claim the Panama Canal as Singapore, and his potential acquisition was in a very cost, something that becomes a meme in the community. Charles Curtis, before William Bora of London and John also could avoid the Second American Civil War, Charles Curtis was the first path to could avoid the Second American Civil War. A tour is required navigating one hell of event chain to do so. La Plata. Back when the countries were limited, Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay were all joined as one nation known as La Plata. Genghis Khan II, Urban born for Organized as known as the Mad Baron, was one about to proclaim himself as the reincarnation of Genghis Khan and the head of a new Mongol empire, which made the Mongolian claim on land as far west as the Urals and far east as the Yarrow River. His path was removed on account of Stanford not harboring these ideas in real life. Lawrence of Germania. T.E. Lawrence used to have a former prominent role primarily as spy. The Union apprentice, he offered his service to the government once the war with Germany begins. He then sneaked into Germany itself, initiated a significant campaign of sabotage. The Germans would give a chance when Lawrence either dying or narrowly escaping back to Britain. Here, he could either rise to the leadership of the Union of Britain itself or promptly launch a massive royalist uprising. All Italy. Under the Alpha 006 Garibaldi number, the situation on the Italian peninsula was very wild to how different it was. For a starter, the North, Corsica, Nice, and Savoy were united in a federation under the Pope, while the South was a socialist stronghold. Opposite to the situation of Italy since the previously mentioned Garibaldi number, which the North is socialist, Venice is under Austrian rule, the South is a monarchy, the host of Savoy is in exile in Sardinia, and the Pope only controls France and its surroundings. Orchestra and War are Our Blues crossover. On April 3rd of 2020, there was a massive crossover between Kaiserreich, Our Blues, and Orchestra and War, where each of the three modes have roots related to the crossover mods. Honestly, I think it's the best to watch his video from this Shanky to see his crossover is in full glory. Luxembourg. The remote Tar of Luxembourg was said to be a realizable in the event of Germany's defeat. One could even create Greater Luxembourg. Its erosion was justified as said earlier, being assimilated into Germany. Emperor Otto. Before Blizzard Karl was the starting ruler of Austria, it was his son Otto. Karl died when he did historically, with Otto ruling since the age of 10. Otto is still in the mod, though he don't ascend to the throne until the late 40s. Hans von Herrenvolk. His point of the iceberg refers to an updated piece of lore in which in the Kaiserreich timeline, Himmler is a chicken farmer in the United Baltic Duchy. His master race of chickens were apparently so delectable that even the royal family prized him. His tip began an attraction, so though the new lord has Himmler dying in a ditch in the United Baltic Duchy. Danubia Volunteers. There was a freaking book back when the whole full version was first came out, where Austria-Hungary would send volunteers to an obscene amount of factions. Edgy was guilty of his as well, and it was too uncommon to see camel cavalry search New York just to give an example. Blue Canada. Since many years, Canada flag used to be like the historical flag of the Dominion Canada, but with blue instead of red. He was changed to red to be more historically accurate. Though most are not resigned to his change, when it was came out, it caused quite a stir in the community that even to his day, many fans are still salty to his change. Otherwise, it seemed absolutely ludicrous, but yes, a Kaiserreich dating simulator exists. Otherwise, they explain an international school in Switzerland with many charters from different countries of the mod. A demo of the game has been outputted but have been no further update in gesture, so it probably that will be cancelled as many projects related to Kaiserreich. 1984 Union of Britain. Eric Bray, better known as George Orwell, can lead the Union of Britain, does so by doing a coup to Mosley, and there's even an event about his rather specific book, Uncertainty. Before at mention to Adolf being completely erased in the mod, there was at least two events that mention him. His war journal, the complaint on the novel Uncertainty became a big hit in Germany, so much that even Len Reisenhardt had made a movie about it with the same name. Trial Legation Series. If the foreign dominance of the Legation City faltered, instead of collapsing, the Legation City could come under the control of a criminal syndicate. There were three possible rulers. The rule the most notable was Jiang Qin, the wife of Mao Zedong in our timeline. Julius IV, colloquially known as the Barbeau the Cardinal Theodore Pinitzer, said to be the national populist option for the papacy. She had led him launching a crusade against syndicalism. International China. At the legation series, you can unite the entirety of China and you can get the name changed after doing it. I don't recommend doing it unless you are a madman and there won't be any further contact to do it other than the message you have been brought to all of China. Balkans and United States. The United States once had a failed terror in which MacArthur could be assassinated. He was, and neither the federal government nor Eisenhower took charge, that the country would descend into chaos. The result was a balkanized America, when each nation had the option to choose a major version of their choosing. Dictatorial Pacific states. The Pacific States had an option to be led by a military government as opposed to the civilian one. Henry Arnold could become dictator and there would be no way to revert his. Interestingly enough, a democratic Pacific state could be still his route, as in every election there was a small chance for the military to coup the government. Darkest Hour version. Before Hoi 4, the primary remote was accurate to Darkest Hour, an offshoot of Hearts of Iron 2. A lot of the old school Kaiserreich was however here and successfully made the jump to the initial Hoi 4 version. Since the 2020, with most of the mounting on the Hearts of Iron 4 version, the Darkest Hour version has been open sourced, with some notably different content from the Prairie, Darkest Hour and Hearts of Iron 4 versions. Again start the Iranian Civil War, a Texan revolt, and other the oddity can be found in his latest version. Brazilian Civil War, a rare instance of Kaiserreich removing a civil war. Brazil was said to always have one no matter what route they went down. He was seen as not really adding anything and was replaced by the much more dynamic state revolts. West Union capitulation. Back in the day, whenever the autonomy were elected the Union of Britain, they self-balkanized before the Second World War and not after. He will result in the exceptionally weak West Union is to capitulate whenever the enemy forces took its capital, which could happen repeatedly. Russo-Japanese alliance. Many years ago, Russia and Japan could form a Russian alliance instead of warring on each other. This possible alliance was removed because the historical interests of Russia and Japan in the region conflicted heavily. As you can imagine, the alliance was a formidable duo. The Red Twilight. In the New Order, there is a reference to Kenzo in an event called the Red Twilight, in which Prairie, aka George Orwell, wrote a novel where describes the events of the Lord of Kaiserreich. America's silly refugees. If the United States fared either the longest of the syndicalists and the silly crew went down to that particular focus, just Stewart and Frank Merrick could fascinatingly flee to China. There, J. Falcon with the crew becoming general under the J. Marshall. Egyptian Axis. There's not much to say here about the original. The Carabao is said to be known as the Axis. Outer Legion is the American Union State, a book that still exists, in which, if Austria its military occupation route becomes a republic and then applies for German annexation, there's a brief window where it sends volunteers to the longest in the Second American Civil War. Once the Austria is annexed, say volunteers arrive to their destination, they'll never leave.